Hello, 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 and welcome back to our weekly Sunday school lesson. I am Elder Latanya Milliken of the All Nations Church in Oakland, California. My pastor is Bishop Terrence L. Milliken, and this is lesson 2 in our summer quarter. The date of the lesson is June the 11th, 2023, and we are in the book of St. Matthew's? In the book of Matthew, the 5th chapter, and we're going to be highlighting a couple of verses, the 17th and the 18th. The 21st and the 22nd, the 27th and the 28th, the 38th and the 39th, and the 43rd through the 44th verses. And so if you've read the entire fifth chapter of Matthew's, then you are ready. If you read it last week, I missed you last week. Oh my God, I missed you. This is the first time I took a break from teaching Sunday school. Oh my God, and I missed it, but I needed a break. I was in San Antonio celebrating the homegoing of my baby sister. I'm gonna miss her. Oh my God, I'm gonna miss her. We had a beautiful services. She was my number one fan. She never missed a Sunday school lesson. We would talk about Sunday school, the lesson, and it was so funny. Sometimes the lesson would be this, and she lived in San Antonio. It would be, her preacher would preach a little bit on it, and I tell you, we just had a wonderful time. But we know God is in control, and we are not. And so, and while I was down in San Antonio, I hopped over to Dallas and brought my grandson Zaire back. And so did I give you the subject? I just went into my conversation. The subject of the lesson is a perfect kingdom. Now, back to my conversation. We celebrated a lot of birthdays. And so with that said, I want to say happy birthday to everyone that's celebrating a birthday in June. And so, I missed a few because Bishop Terrence Milliken on the 3rd of June had a birthday. Today is the 10th of June that I'm videotaping. It is Chandra Kendrick's birthday. It's also the anniversary of my father passing. It is, oh my God, next week, June 15th is Zaire's birthday. We get to celebrate his birthday with him. On the 26th is Kayliana's birthday. I won't see her, but I saw her in San Antonio. That's my granddaughter. Happy birthday, Kayliana. Breathway. Love you, love you, love you. While we were down there on the 7th, Steve celebrated a birthday. Happy birthday, Steve. To everyone who is celebrating a birthday, happy birthday, whatever you're celebrating. There's anniversaries, there's graduations. I tell you, everyone, happy, whatever you're celebrating. And may God's favor be over your celebration. Now let's get to the Sunday school lesson. Again, I wasn't with you last week, but I'm just going to give you, I'm a hit on Sunday school last week. It ties into this week. And then we're going to do a high-level view of this week's lesson, and then we're going to go on with our day. How about that? So let's see. So last week, Jesus was teaching to his disciples, 12 disciples, and the Sermon on the Mount, the Beatitudes is what we call them, as I grew up and learned. They begin with, blessed are this, blessed is this, blessed is this. But the word blessed means happy. So what Jesus was doing is, he was teaching the disciples how to really be happy, because we were created by God, and God gave us his image. And so we live in the world, but not of the world. And so the happiness that the world offer is temporary. It's not going to give you that deep happiness that Jesus is teaching the disciples. And so while he was teaching the disciples, a crowd grew, and these were other believers and other followers who considered themselves as disciples, but not the 12. So the crowd grew, and then there were other people that were in the crowd for whatever other reasons, for other motives. They were there. So the crowd was big. So Jesus began to teach them about being happy. And so he started off with blessed, meaning happy. Is the poor in spirit. And what Jesus meant by that is not the physically poor, but those who are poor in their spirit, and they understand that they cannot be righteous without God. And then blessed are those who mourn, not mourn because a passing of someone. I mourn when my sister, but this is a different mourning. This is a mourning where you see your spiritual poverty and your sinful condition, and you're deeply sorrowful, and your godly sorrow leads to repentance. So that's that mourning because of your condition. Then he goes on to talk about blessed are the meek. Meek is strength under control. This comes when you're spiritually mature. One who is spiritually mature, who graciously uses their strength, their talents, their gifts, their resources positively and constructively, who submit completely to the will of God. That takes maturity. Blessed are the merciful. Now, we have a sinful nature. In our sinful nature, we are bent on selfishness and unforgiveness. But God is merciful. And the righteous attitude is a forgiving attitude. When we forgive, we have a greater sense of God's forgiveness. God showed us mercy. He is requiring us to forgive and to show mercy to others. The next one, blessed are the pure in heart, those who have experienced God's mercy from the forgiveness of sin need to live in purity of heart. And this pure heart is going to transition into to this week's lesson. The people who live with a pure heart can see God now in ways others do not. So when you have this pure heart, you're able to really see God in creation, see God in his handiwork, see his strategic plans of salvation. Blessed are the peacemakers. Those who have accepted Christ as their Savior are at peace with their eternal destiny. They live in peace with others, and they are a person who loves the Lord. Okay, so endeavoring to live according to the word, they can help others live in peace. So you've got this person, this peacemaker, who is at peace with their destiny. They're at peace with God. They're at peace with others around them. And then they show others this way of peace. They show others how to find peace. And then there is finally two things Jesus talks about. Well, one more thing Jesus talks about is Jesus was teaching at a time where the Jews were not in control. The Rome was in control, and this Christianity thing was something new. And they were going to experience oppression. And so he was saying to them, when you take a stand for righteous, you're going to face animosity from the unsaved. You're going to face opposition against the godly. And so count it a blessing, knowing that you are making an impact on the kingdom. So don't be sad about it. Be glad that you're standing for righteous. We know in today, some of the decisions that the world makes, some of the decisions that the courts make are unrighteous decisions, unrighteous choices, because that's the world. But we have to stand as believers. We have to stand on what is right spiritually and what the words say as believers. Now, so these are the things Jesus was teaching, but he continues on. He begins now in our lesson this week to give us some root causes around some behaviors. And so if you have your favorite translations, let's go to the 5th chapter of Matthew. And we're going to start at the 17th verse. And so we have, just want to make a quick note before we do our reading. So Jesus begins as he transitioned from the Sermon on the Mount, the Beatitudes. He started making several contrasts between his teaching and the interpretation of the scribes and the Pharisees. Now, anyone in that day, we know the scribes and the Pharisees and the Sadducees, they were your experts on the law. And so if you did not accept the traditional interpretation, then you were considered a sinner. And anyone who rejected their authority or the law authority was considered a social outcast or outcast in the community. And so then Jesus begins to address a couple of things about the law. Okay, so your favorite translation, I'm going to read the Way. Again, that's Matthew the 5th chapter and the 17th verse. We will begin. Don't misunderstand why I have come. I did not come to abolish the law of Moses or the writings of the prophets. No, I came to accomplish their purpose. I tell you the truth. Until heaven and earth disappear, not even the smallest detail of the law will disappear until its purpose is achieved. Okay, I got to stop there. Let me just interject. So Jesus is saying, I did not come to destroy the law. This is what he's saying. I didn't come. I came to fulfill it. I came to bring the actual intention of it. The Old Testament were predictions and prophecies and writings that the prophets had wrote. And so Jesus is saying those things that they wrote, I've come to fulfill it, not to destroy it. In fact, not one word, not one jot, not one tittle will change. And so when you think about a jot in the actual Hebrew alphabet was the smallest letter in the Hebrew alphabet, and a tittle was just a stroke of a pen that could change one letter to another. So when you think about that, you make the I, it could be an L, right? A capital I, but when you put that dot on it, it makes it an I. So, and then the T, when you cross it, it becomes the T. So those lines are that dot. So Jesus is saying, nothing like that. Nothing will change the word, because I came to fulfill it. I came to carry out the prediction. I came to bring a true, deeper meaning to what the prophets say. I came to accomplish the very intention of what they prophesied and share. So he goes on to share the interpretation. Okay, let me go back to reading. Okay, we'll go back to reading. Okay, we're at 5 and 21. 5 and 21. You have heard that our ancestors were told, you must not murder, for if you commit murder, you are subject to judgment. But I say, if you are even angry with someone. So here's where Jesus is giving us the root cause. The root cause of murder is anger. But I say unto you, even if you're angry with someone, you are subject to judgment. If you call someone an idiot or a fool or a raka, you are in danger of being brought before the court. And if you curse someone, you are in danger of hell's fire. And so what Jesus is saying is that the root cause is anger. So we must control our anger. So Jesus gives us this fuller meaning as a true and a master teacher. He gives us this fuller meaning, a broader understanding of what the Old Testament is saying. It's thou shalt not kill. You'll be in danger of judgment. Judgment meaning the Sanhedrin council, right? And so, and hell's fire, all right? And so Jesus points out, just don't be angry. It's natural to get angry, and it's not wrong to get angry. But not only the outward act of murder, but the inward choice of anger, that generates such acts of violence, right? That violates the spirit of God's law against murder. So it's that he gives us this deeper understanding. I love this. He gives us this deeper understanding that it's that choice. You choose to be angry. I have to share this with you, and this may take up a lot of time. My dad, I shared this at my dad's homecoming. My dad, there was a situation that happened in the family, and I can't remember what it was, but my mom wanted my dad to take action, put up the deuce, call somebody out, whatever, get violent, I don't know. And so they had this argument about it. Not an argument, because my parents really didn't argue. They just had this heated discussion. That's a better way to express that, heated discussion. But my dad, he explained to her. He says, I can cuss, I can fight, but I choose not to. You have a choice. You have a choice to be angry. Angry is a choice. You get mad, you get angry, but you have control over that. And the root cause of murder and violence is anger. So Jesus is saying, not only do not murder, don't get angry, and don't call your brother a fool. Don't call your brother an idiot. Don't say that they're worthless, because they are my creation. And so this is Jesus's, I love this. This is Jesus' explanation. Help us to understand really what the law is. And the people were amazed at getting this understanding, because they hadn't heard it in this wise before. And so he goes on to talk about thou shalt not commit adultery, and given a broader sense, all sexual activity outside of marriage relationship. But the root cause of adultery is lust, keeping your mind and your thoughts pure. They're that blessed are the pure in heart, okay? Keeping your mind and your thoughts pure. It's much more difficult to keep your mind and thoughts pure, because it begins with lust, lustful thoughts. Lustful thoughts lead to, and is prior to the physical act of immorality. So Jesus is speaking to the heart of the matter, the root cause, which is a lustful mind. And he breaks it down, right? Desire and the deed are not identical, but it begins with the actual desire. And so Jesus is saying, not only is the deed harmful, but the desire is equally harmful. So Jesus said this look to look at a woman. When he said to look at a woman, Jesus mentioned was not a casual glance, but a constant stare with the purpose of lusting. Because you can see a beautiful woman or a handsome man, and you're gonna recognize that they're a beautiful person, but you don't have to. You make the choice not to lust. Or you make the choice to lust. Now you look and you admire and you God's creation, God's beauty, but you keep it moving. But when you get there lusting and looking, then there's a deeper problem. And this is where the desire or the lustful mind creates the deed. And so Jesus looked at a woman for the purposes of feeding his inner sensual or your inner sensual appetite. It's not accidental, it's planned. So you have to, it's that choice you make, that choice. So let me keep reading, okay? You have heard the commandment, you must not commit adultery. But I say, and if you look at a woman with a lust, you've already committed adultery with her in his heart. Verse 29. So if your eye, even your good eye, causes you to lust, gorge it out, throw it away. It is better for you to lose the one part of your body than your whole body to be thrown in hell. Let's go on to verse 38. You have heard the law that says the punishment must match the crime. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But I say, do not resist an evil person. If someone slaps you on the right cheek, offer the other cheek also. What do you think about that? Oh my God. Here's where blessed are the peacemakers. Blessed are the meek. See how it ties in? And yes, the Mosaic law was an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But the purpose of that was to sort of match the crime with the punishment, and really to secure justice. So once the infraction happened, they wanted to make the punishment match the crime to secure justice, but to restrict personal and unlimited retaliation. They didn't want you to keep going back. Oh, they did unto me. That ain't enough. That ain't enough penalty. He didn't. The law was to ensure that, to restrict personal and unlimited retaliation. Personal vengeance seemed normal, but it's not the Lord's way. He wants us to be meek. He wants us to turn the other cheek. So a slap, bam, on the right cheek was the most egregious form of insult in ancient days. So if you got slapped in the face on the right-hand side, it was intentional. It was a choice being made. But Jesus was saying, handle that with meekness as a peacemaker. Turn the other cheek. And then he wraps it up with love. He wraps it up with love, which is, let's wrap this up. 44. But I say, love your enemies. Pray for those who persecute you. In that way, you will be acting as true children of your Father in heaven. For he gives his sunlight on both the evil and the good, and he sends rain on the just and the unjust. So Jesus wraps this up in love. I know I went over time because I wanted to share with you 2 Sunday school lessons. It's been amazing. I've enjoyed both these lessons. They are just fantastic. And let me hurry up and wrap this up. I'm not going to give you the conclusion. I'm just going to give you the aim of the lessons to know what Jesus proposed for changing people's thoughts and actions as he sought to move them from legality, that's the law, and to love. He wants us to love. Love your enemy. Love your neighbor. Love God. The principle is to show that in the inner law of love supersedes the outer law of legal ordinance. And the application is to help believers be governed by the law of love in their relationship with others. That ends our lesson. That wraps it up. Glad to be back. I will see you next week. If you enjoy it, share the word. Share the word. Get the word out there. Like, subscribe, and share the word. God bless you until next week.